Hi and welcome to this week's edition of Bitrix24 Live. Today's session is going to focus on Bitrix telephony, and this is the fifth part of our remote working series, and it's going to focus on the telephony as we feel that telephony in Bitrix provides you with a fantastic tool to be able to work remotely. You can continue to access telephone calls if you're working at home. You can get calls directed through the Bitrix24 mobile app, so you don't need to be sat at a computer all the time to answer these. You can also connect SIP phones so you can have an actual physical handset. You don't have to talk through a headset through your computer. And all these areas we're going to focus on today in this particular session. So our Tuesday sessions do focus on particular modules inside Bitrix, part of our remote working series during the COVID-19. So this is what we're going to focus on today. So please do put your questions through. If you do have any questions with regards to telephony, then I can answer them as we go along. A little bit about who we are. My name is Andy and I am the support manager here at Interface. We're gold partners of Bitrix24. And we offer a whole range of different services, from the likes of pre-sale support, through to licensing, through to implementation and installation. And then finally, we also offer premium support. So I'm Andy, and I'll be taking this session on telephony today. So do please put your questions to me on anything with regards to Bitrix24 telephony. Let's jump into Bitrix and let's have a look at how to set up Bitrix telephony. There are a number of different ways that you can install the telephony module inside Bitrix. You can first of all click into telephony in the left-hand menu, and this is available on all versions of Bitrix. So if you're wanting to use telephony inside Bitrix, then it doesn't matter what package of Bitrix that you have. And as you can see here, if we click into it, then we're presented with a telephony dashboard. And as I mentioned, there are a number of ways of getting a telephone number connected up inside Bitrix. The most easiest option is to rent a number. So you can see here, we click on rent number. And what you can do here is you can select the location, the country that you want to rent a number from. So if I was to say in the USA, then we have a type of number that we can select. So we can select a local number or a toll-free number in the US. So if I was to say local, then I could select Nevada, and then I could select any one of the, if I wanted to select Las Vegas, then it would allow me to rent a number easily and quickly. It would just cost me $4 a month to do so. The phone number is automatically assigned. You can't choose your number that you want to rent from Bitrix. And then the second criteria is that you must have a balance that can afford the $4 a month. So your balance has to be a minimum of $4. If it isn't, and if this balance is at 0, then you can just click on the top up button here, and you can top up the balance by purchasing credits. So you can buy a $10 credit, $30 or $50. So it's quite straightforward to do so. Furthermore, if you are renting a number from Bitrix, do be aware that other than the $4 rental charge for the number for a US number, you will need to just understand that there are prices involved in the calling rates too. So if you are dialing out from Bitrix, which I'll show you how to do a little bit later on during this session, you are going to need to pay a call rate. And you can see all rates. So you can see here we have 1 cent from 1 cent per minute. If you want a breakdown of all the rates here, then you can see them in here. So I'd recommend just clicking on the down arrow and getting those prices on there if you are interested in knowing what the call cost. So that's the first option. Once you've rented a number, it will appear in your My Numbers section up here, and then you can configure that number to do what you require it to do. So that's the first way of getting a number. The second way is connecting a PBX up into Bitrix. So you have two options here. You can connect an Office PBX or you can connect a Cloud PBX. To do so, you just click on the type of PBX you want to connect and then click on the Connect Office PBX button up here and then enter in the values that you want to enter in based on the PBX that you have. So you can see you would need to put a server name, server login and a server password. And once you do so, it will give you a period of 60 minutes for free to test the connection and test the equipment. So you can see here there is a 60-minute free period to test the connection. After that 60-minute period has ended, you will need to purchase the SIP connector. And what the SIP connector allows you to do is then continue making outgoing and also accepting incoming. You cannot connect a PBX up into Bitrix without purchasing the SIP connector in the long run. You only get the 60 minutes free at the beginning and then you have to purchase a SIP connector. And the SIP connector is available to see if we go into the top up area again. So if I click on top up, then you will be able to see down here that the SIP connector is $49 per month. The more months that you subscribe, then you can pay $147 for 3, $294 for 6, and $588 for 12-month subscription of the SIP connector. And that will be needed for the Office PBX and the Cloud PBX. So just be aware of that. That charge is fixed and you will need to incorporate that charge in costing out Bitrix telephony for you. You do not need to connect a SIP connector with that $50 monthly charge if you are just going to rent a number from Bitrix. The only charge for renting a number is the $4 a month for a US number or the call rates as well. So those are two options to get a number inside Bitrix, either renting a number or using one of the PBX services. The third option is to integrate a pre-built application. So if you just scroll down to here and we click on Total Apps, then you can see in here that Bitrix have a whole range of pre-built integrations with a number of different providers. So you can see here we've got everything from 3CX to Ring Central to 8x8. And these all are Bitrix integrations, so Bitrix themselves have integrated these, and there are currently 72 different applications that you can connect up into Bitrix. So if you have a number already through one of these providers, this is a great way of integrating your number with Bitrix using one of these pre-built applications. So that's the third way of connecting up a number to receive calls and to make outgoing calls. Finally, if one of those three different options aren't suitable for your requirements, then the fourth and final option is to make a custom API integration. You would need to be very familiar with the Bitrix24 framework for that. So just be aware that if the renter number, PBX or pre-built applications aren't suitable for your requirements, then you are going to need to request from a partner or suggest to Bitrix with regards to making an integration. So in today's session, we're going to work with the connection of renting a number. So you can see here we have a UK-based telephone number associated to this account. This is a rented number from Bitrix. We selected a London region, so you can select your region in the location that you pick. And it's got a $6 monthly charge. And it's as simple as that to get a number. Now what we can do is check some settings on the number. It's probably the first thing that you need to do. So you click into configure number and then you can edit the different settings. And in here we have a whole range of different tools we can switch on and switch off. So we have the ability to forward this number when it comes in to a specific call group. So a queue group here, we can forward to a specific queue group. We can have a sales queue, for example, on this particular one. Furthermore, we can play welcome music. We can use a voice menu. So Bitrix gives you the ability, and I'll show you how to do this in a moment, if you wanted a voice menu every time somebody called. So it might be that somebody calls your number that you're renting and they say press 1 for support or 2 for sales. If you use that, then you can direct that call to a specific group of people that deal with your support and deal with your sales. And Bitrix telephony gives you that functionality to do so. We can also integrate it with the CRM. So when I make a call shortly during this session, you'll be able to see what appears when a call comes in. So at the moment, Bitrix will check to see if that number exists in your CRM. And if it does, then it will pull that calling card up from that specific user. If the number doesn't exist, you do have the option here to automatically create a new lead within the CRM for all new and unrecognized incoming calls, which can be useful if you're renting a telephone number specifically for a marketing campaign. That might be pretty handy because then you can just create the leads in the CRM from that specific number. There are a few other settings in here, so we can record all calls, which is great for monitoring your sales staff and your customer service staff. You can play those calls back. You can have calling hours, so if a call is made to you outside of your working hours, then you can play a specific message to say the office is closed. And then we have another whole range of other. So we can redial missed callbacks, enable a backup number. We can, employees can select this number for outbound calls. So if you've got multiple numbers, it might be that you want to use different telephone numbers for making outbound calls. That is possible inside these settings. We can play our own hold music. And finally, if you no longer want it, we can disconnect that particular number. So they are pretty standard settings for when you rent a number. You can portray those settings and tailor them to your business however you wish. But what we should have a look at is one of the items that we looked at was the queue groups. So I mentioned that once you have a number to accept incoming calls, you can direct those calls to specific queue groups. So in here we have a sales queue. If I just click into here and edit, then you can see in here that we currently have 5 employees who are going to receive this incoming call. At the moment, it's going to go to every single one of these specific users, and you can see, alternatively, you can distribute it evenly, or you can distribute them exactly as enqueued. So it would go to John, Mike, Mark, Josie, and Jane. In our case, we'll leave that to everybody. And if it's going to be missed, then you can forward a call to another employee. You can forward a call to a cell phone if you wanted to, or you could forward a call to another queue group. So these queue groups are perfect if you've got multiple numbers, because you can assign your numbers to different call groups, and they're also perfect for your voice menus. So you can redirect if somebody was to press 1 for support and 1 for sales. So let me just go into that voice menu and show you what I mean. So what you can do is click on Add Menu up at the top right hand corner here, and then if we click on Edit, you can see here we can speak the text. Please press 1 for sales, press 2 for support. And based on that, you can press, once the user presses 1, we can forward to a queue group, sales, and press 2, we can forward to queue group and go to a different queue group here. So this is really useful if you do have different departments who are wanting to answer those specific calls. You can blacklist numbers if you're constantly getting maybe spam calls all the time. And then finally, we can set extension numbers for users, and we can also connect your SIP phones up for your specific users as well. And you can do that by following the instructions that are on the SIP phone page. They give you all the details in here. And once you follow those details, you will find that once you configure the telephony users, then you can see in here, we can connect it, and it will provide you with a unique IP login and password for this user's phone so they can connect them up into Bitrix. So it does provide everything that you need to answer calls directly from within Bitrix. And you can answer, by default, you will answer calls because Bitrix is a cloud-based product, obviously. So you can answer as long as you've got a microphone on your computer, whether that's directly on your laptop or desktop, or you've got a headset plugged in, as long as you've got the settings set up on your computer to be able to hear and speak into the mic on your headset, everything will run smoothly inside Bitrix. One thing to point out, I did forget to mention when you're renting numbers from inside Bitrix, is that some areas that you're wanting to rent a number from do require you to provide documents of proof of residency. So an example of that would be if you wanted to rent a number from Germany, you would need to upload your documentation to prove that you are a resident of Germany. You can't just rent a number from every location around the world. There are some restrictions to countries that you are renting a Bitrix24 number from. So now that we've explained the settings in here, like you say, it's pretty straightforward to set up. Hopefully you found that quite useful. The easiest method is certainly renting a number if you want to get running straight from the blocks using Bitrix telephony. If we just click into the top area, just to the final aspect of the setup, is that every call has the option to be recorded in your telephony settings when we configure the number. I could switch call recording on. All your calls are recorded and displayed within this call details section here. So you can see who the employee is that answered it or made the call, and you can download or listen to that particular call directly from here. Not only does the call record in this call details settings here, it will record in the actual contact in the CRM too. So if we scroll down in here, we can see, here we go, an inbound call was made at 8:37 a.m. The call was 42 seconds long, and you can actually listen to that call directly from the activity stream of your contact. And that's solely because it's recognized that telephone number that has dialed into Bitrix. So if we go to the CRM, and let's just have a look at what it looks like with regards to when it pops up inside Bitrix. So I'll make a call from my cell phone right now, and I'll switch the speaker on so you can hear.
Hello. Thank you for your call. If you know the extension of the party you wish to call, please dial it now.
So you can see here now that it is popped up because the number that it recognizes on here is the number that I'm dialing from. You can see any invoices that are currently outstanding, and you can see in here that we have anybody who's responsible for it, the invoices, any deals, and we've actually got the call center script on as well. So if I just go back to that and let's dial it out. I probably should have answered it. So let's dial that again and answer it this time. So if I click on answer, then there is this call center wizard that is available on the right hand side here. This is an application, but you can see here it shows you a history of all interactions inside the calling card itself. So you can see when the last time somebody called up. Not only that, is that we can also load sales scripts. So obviously the person at the end of the call does not know that you have this. But we don't have any setup, I don't think, in here. But this application allows you to select a sales script. So maybe somebody's calling about a specific product. You can click on that sales script in here, and then you can relay that back to the customer and ensure that you've got everything covered. Again, and just gives you a lot more flexibility then to try and convert the sales. So this is an existing client that has called up. You can obviously, if that telephone number that called up was not just associated to a company or a contact, and instead it was associated to a lead, then it would pull the lead card up onto the screen as well. So what we can do is, if we just go back into the companies, and now if we go into TechCo here, and what we can do here is, in fact, let me see if we can. So you can see in here TechCo, I can call that number directly from Bitrix. So that's now calling my cell phone, and my cell phone's ringing, and then if it was to pick it up, then it would again record that specific call. So this is how easy it is to use Bitrix telephony. You can click on a telephone number inside Bitrix, it will automatically dial out, start recording. It will come from the number that you are renting, so it will come from our London number that we're renting on here. You can also use the keypad, so if I wanted to dial a number, you can just dial the number straight from inside Bitrix. So it's quite easy and straightforward to do. And furthermore, there are some other areas that you can use Bitrix telephony. So if you were to use, for example, some lead automation, it might be that you want to automatically dial the customer. You can do so by clicking on Configure Workflow and then for Employee, and click on Client Communications. You can use your telephony number that you're renting, and you can actually speak the text that you write in here. Alternatively, you can play an audio message to your lead directly from this automation as well. So this, you do have to be using the robocalls in the automation. You do need to have the telephony connected up. And then finally, the other area inside Bitrix is the CRM marketing. So you might want to use your telephony to do a voice broadcasting campaign or an audio call campaign. The difference between the two is that audio allows you to upload your own audio transcript and it will sound like it's coming from yourself. Or voice broadcasting is very similar to the robocall where we were a moment ago, and you can write the text for Bitrix to speak. This is particularly good if you're using the CRM marketing aspect of Bitrix to maybe update somebody about an up-and-coming event. So you could say, hope you're ready for the event. The event's going to take place in 3 days. And then you can do another one, 2 days, 1 day, so it's a countdown. I have seen somebody use it for that. So not only does Bitrix telephony work as a tool to receive incoming and get a very clear transcript of what that customer is currently associated with in terms of deals and invoices and previous information, but you can also integrate it with the automation rules and the campaigns as well. So can you demonstrate the automatic dialing using telephony, please? So yeah, you can certainly create call lists in Bitrix. So if we go into the CRM, and one area of this is very useful, because what you can do is you can create your own filtered lists of, for example, leads that you may want to call. Okay, so we only have 6 leads in here at the moment, but if you imagine that you had thousands of leads in here, as many people do within the lead section, you can filter out first of all the people who you want to be calling. So you can see in here, it might be that we want to call all the people that have a status of first call. Click on search. Then what we can do is click on the checkbox here, and then we can start dialing. What we do here is start dialing, click on call, and then that will call that specific. And then it will continue. I don't think that particular person's got a number assigned to them. But then you can follow further down, and further down. And that will automatically go through the filtered list of contacts that you have created on here. So that is quite useful, and it's called your cold call list. You can also create call lists from your activities as well. So we can add a call list within here, and then we can generate our call list from the criteria that we set within here. With regards to an auto dialer, what we can use, I do believe that I don't think we have it installed on here, is that if we look at the VoIP integration on here, there are some useful applications, and I do believe there is an auto dialer. So I think it's in here. I would need to probably just research a little bit. I'm not too familiar with all the applications that are on here, but you can have an auto dialer directly installed from the applications as well. And there are also some extended reporting tools in here as well. So should you want to report a little bit more on your telephony, have a look in here, and you'll be able to maybe report a little bit more on the telephony. So I don't have too much else to cover actually on the Bitrix telephony. It's been 30 minutes. I do believe that's what the time was set aside today for looking at the telephony. So if you do have any questions, please do pop them in the box and I can answer them with the time remaining. But As I mentioned right at the beginning, this session was solely focusing on telephony. So we've had a look at how we can get started with Bitrix telephony by renting a number, by connecting a PBX or an application. Got a question that came through, will the AirCall integration approve? So AirCall is actually on there now, so you can see in here. I did actually see that the other day. So AirCall is integrated now, so you just need to install the application and hopefully you'll be able to see that. So yeah, it has, I think, like I say, Bitrix has 72 applications now that have connected their telephony with Bitrix. So just I would recommend installing it, downloading it, and testing it out. Okay, so I think that's it for the moment. Like I say, if you missed the start, I went through how to rent a number, how to connect your PBX, how to install an application, then how to set up your telephony number, and also how to create the queue groups, voice menus, and then we had a look at how it was integrated. So has all been recorded, and it will be live on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel very shortly. So I would recommend having a playback. I think it will probably get released later on today on the Bitrix24 YouTube channel. So you can have a playback and just follow the steps to connect a number up into Bitrix. My name is Andy. If you do have any questions, please do send me an email, andy@intraface.com, or you can send an email to sales@intraface.com. We offer a whole range of different services, from implementation through to pre-sales support if you're wanting to know Bitrix is a good fit for your business. And we finally offer premium support as well. So we offer ticketing and telephone support. So I hope you found that useful. Thank you very much for your time, and see you Thursday for Bitrix24 Live.